Wanted to talk with Dr. Gibb a little bit about genomics and the use of genomic technology and genetic selection, and get kind of an update on what's going on at Igenity, what kind of services you offer to producers, and kind of where you see this technology headed.
Sure. Thank you, John. You know, our customers, and particularly in the commercial sector, are really excited about our heifer replacement product. And I'd say that's probably where we're seeing the most activity and the most interest. But we have a number of other products too. Of course, we have our all-breed Igenity profile, and we also offer parentage. We have a horn-polled test as well that producers are using more heavily by the day. And we do a lot of parentage testing as well as genetic abnormality testing.
The heifer test seems like a real opportunity for producers to look a little bit closer at those replacement heifers than they have in the past. We always kind of assume that the replacement heifers are genetically probably the best females in the herd, and hope to be making progress there with each generation. What kind of traits are you including in that test, and what kind of traits do you see as being the most interest to producers as they take a little closer look at those heifers?
Well, that's a great question, John, and actually our commercial producers helped us design the test. We did a number of survey across all of our 6 regions where we primarily have our sales representatives, and they got some wonderful feedback. And so the replacement heifer product was actually developed by our commercial customers. And those traits included, there's 5 traits. There's percent choice, tenderness. We also include average daily gain, as well as maternal calving ease and stability. So we've covered the gamut of growth, carcass characteristics, as well as fertility and longevity. And producers are using it to help them differentiate which replacement females are most likely to be the most productive as brood cows, and it's worked out quite well. We have a number of repeat customers that have used it and come back and are using it again, and plus they're also using our all-breed profile to test their bulls. So when you combine that use of the all-breed Igenity profile for testing sires, as well as our replacement heifer product for testing replacement heifers, it really allows commercial cattlemen to make the best decisions they can to make sure that they're mating the best bulls to the best females, reduces their risk, and gives them more confidence as they select their replacement heifers.
How about going further into the cow herd? And I would imagine that the sequence for people getting involved with this technology probably would be to look at the bulls first, then maybe move into replacement heifers. Is anyone carrying it into the rest of the cow herd, or even looking at feeder cattle?
Well, that's the whole issue of going into the cow herd actually is something probably more seed stock producers do versus commercial cattlemen. And that's where our, again, the all-breed profile is being used by a number of breeds. And then, of course, we also offer the Igenity profile for Angus. And in that case, a lot of producers are using that profile to test cows, particularly those that may be candidates for donor dams. So they use it for replacement heifers, they're using it for yearling bulls, as well as selected cows that may indeed be donor dam candidates.
So where do you see some of this headed in future years? Now, we just had a couple of presentations in here discussing the genetics of animal health and some of the relationships there, potential for selecting for disease resistance and other health factors. And of course, you mentioned already the genetic abnormalities, and that's an area there's been a lot of progress. But what do you see kind of coming up next? And I'm sure you have things in the pipeline that you can't talk about, but just in general, are there some trends that where you see this technology headed?
Well, clearly, we've heard over the years that the future use of DNA technology will to be incorporated into the use of genomic EPDs, which is happening. And another major use will be incorporation of those traits that are very difficult and expensive to measure. So a trait like tenderness, certainly disease resistance, certainly immune response, things like fescue toxicity that we heard in the presentations today, those are all traits that are going to become even more and more important and will certainly be wonderful add-ons to what we're doing today. So yes, the future is getting further involved in incorporation of the data into genomic EPDs, as well as those ancillary traits that are extremely difficult, very expensive to measure, and have a huge economic impact.